Have you ever been listening to a hit beat and wondered, how does this slap so much harder than mine? Is it the melodies, the drums, the mixing, or something else? Well, the answer is probably all of the above. I've spent years working with a multi-platinum team, and when they weren't looking, I went and stole their hard drive and took the project files, melodies, and MIDI, and I'm going to show you them in this video to show you what goes on behind the scenes when making a hit beat. This first hit beat is one I stole from Produced by JB. He's worked with so many top artists. Listen to how simple this melody is at the start. You have these chords in the background with the guitar lick, and later on when the actual beat comes in. This is kind of vocal pad in the background. With the amount of plugins and preset packs that are out today, it's easy to get carried away and add too many layers, but this literally has 2 layers at the same time, maximum throughout the whole beat. This next beat I stole is from Priority Beats. Obviously I'm kidding, and these producers are on our team and sent them in for this video, but have a listen to this melody here. In one of the melody packs you sent me, you can have a listen to this melody here. It's fairly simple and catchy. It has a very simple bass line here. The chords are unbelievably simple, and the main melody is pretty much the same as well. I like listening to the start and the end of a melody to have a listen to the progression of the chords. If you listen to this first chord, it's quite happy. And then we go down into a little bit of a darker chord here with a bit of a positive resolution. I recommend thinking about your melody in 4 or so chunks here, 1 for each bar, and just feel about how that's guiding the emotion of the track. And if you listen to this dark melody here, something else you can do to calm a melody down and help it blend in better is half speeding it. If you listen to the original melody here, it sounds good, but if you listen to the actual version in the stem, it's been half speeded, which I think sounds really cool. Later on in this beat, the melody gets a teeny bit more advanced, but the melody on its own, most producers would think that it's too basic and too simple. With the beat that comes in that I'm going to show you soon, it sounds perfect, and there's so much room for the artist. The next essential ingredient in a hit beat is the drums, and more importantly, how can you make them feel expensive? Listen to this basic beat here. And listen to this one made by Priority Beats. What makes it sound so much better? Step 0 is make sure you have good samples. If you want to get samples from platinum producers like this, go to wavegrind.com or click the link in the description. But wherever you get your samples, make sure that they're high quality. The next step is the actual drum sequencing. You'll notice a lot of bounce being added in the hi-hat, for example. It's not crazy over the top. It's a handful of chopped up hi-hats here. If you want to quickly chop up your hi-hats, go and choose the magnet you want, select the hi-hat and click Ctrl U, and it's going to chop it up. So for example, if you want a hi-hat chop like this one at the start, you can go to half step, select a hi-hat and click Ctrl U. And it's going to give you that same kind of hi-hat roll. The next important thing is layering. One thing you'll notice is when the kick comes in, you also have the open hi-hat that comes in. This adds so much depth and weight to the bass, and to add evolution to the beat, you'll notice this feel here at the end with these rims, which leads into the next 4-bar sequence. What do you notice in this hit beat made by JB? One thing that immediately catches my attention is what's happening with the snare. You'll notice it misses the normal snare pattern here, comes in a bit early, and then doesn't hit again where it's supposed to hit. It adds a cool amount of bounce to the track. It also has a very simple hi-hat pattern, and the only real kind of fills you have are with these rims here. There's also this very energetic bass hitting up at some really high notes. And this beat and JB's beat both don't have kicks in them. They just have a really punchy 808. This can make it so much easier to mix because the kick and the 808 are hitting in a very similar frequency range, which means they can clash together. The next step is mixing. Producers like this often send their beats out to an artist who has their own engineer, so it's very likely the beat is going to get remixed anyways, but it's important to make it sound good from the start. If you have a look, the only things I can see here are a handful of EQs taking out some of the low end. This stops a melody from clashing with the bass, for example, or even the vocals. You have a very strict EQ on these backing vocals here, as well as some reverb. another EQ on these vocals here with some reverb, and then just a soft clipper on the master, which boosts the final volume of the track. The only thing on the Priority Beats mixer track was this soft clipper here. So I think the most important things for mixing is use an EQ to cut out some of the low end of your melodies if you feel like it's clashing with the bass or it could clash with the vocals. Make sure that you set the levels correctly so none of the layers are too loud. And go and add something like a soft clipper, a maximizer, or a compressor on the master to boost the final volume. So those are the 3 most important ingredients for making a hit beat. If you want to get samples made by these platinum producers as well as all the other producers and musicians in the Wavegrind team, click the link in the description to get the Emotional Essence library for 90% off. It has over 10,000 royalty-free samples and MIDI for every emotion, as well as 7 free bonuses. If you want to learn how to mix your tracks, if you want to learn how to make melodies, or if you want to learn how top producers make their hit beats, click on one of the recommended videos or go to my page.